Dreadfully nervous, I had been, and am.
But why will you say that I am mad?
Disease had sharpened my senses, not destroyed.
Not dull. Above all was the sense of hearing the cues. I heard all things in heaven and in the earth. I heard many things
In hell. How then am I mad? Hearken!
Observe how healthily, how calmly.
I can tell you the whole story.
It is impossible to say the idea of what's in my brain. Once conceived, it haunted me day and night. Object, there's none. Passion, there's none. I love that man. Never wronged me, never given me insult. First goal, I had no desire. I think it was his eye. Yes, it was this. One of his eyes was that of a vulture, a pale, blue eye with a film over it. Whenever it fell upon me, my blood ran cold. And so by degrees, very gradually, I made up my mind to take the life of the little man and thus rid myself of the eye forever. Now this is the point. You fancy me mad. Mad men know nothing. And you should see me. You should see how wisely I proceed.
With what caution? With what foresight?
With what dissimulation?
I went to work. I was never kinder to the old man than the whole week before I killed him. And every night, about midnight, I came to lie to the door. Oh, so gently. When I made an opening sufficient for my head, I put in the dark lantern, all closed. Closed. So that no light shone out. And then I thrust it in my head. Oh, you would have laughed to see how calmly I thrust it in. I moved it slowly. So that I might not disturb the old man's sleep. It took me an hour to place my whole head within the room so far I could see him as he lay upon his bed. Ha! Would a madman have been so wise as this? And then, when my head was well in the room, I undid the lantern cautiously. I undid it just so much that a single thin ray fell upon the vulture eye. And this I did for 7 long nights. Every night, just at midnight. But I found the eye was always closed, so it was impossible to work. For you see, it was not the old man who vexed me, but his
Evil eye.
And the next morning, when day broke, I went boldly into his chamber and spoke courageously to him, calling him by name in a
return when he had passed the night. So you see, he had been a very profound old man indeed, who suspects that every night, just at midnight, I looked upon him while he slept. Upon the 8th night, I was more than usually cautious in opening the door. A watch's minute hand moves more quickly than in mine. Never before this night had I felt the extent of my powers, my sagacious. I could scarcely contain my feeling of triumph to think, there I was, opening the door, and him not even to dream of my secret deeds or thoughts. I fairly chuckled at the idea, and perhaps he heard me, for he moved on the bed suddenly, as if startled. Now, you may think that I drew back, but no.
No.
His room was as black as pitch with a thick darkness, for the shutters were closed fastened through fear of robbers, and so I knew that he could not have seen the opening of the door, and so I kept pushing it on steadily. I had my head in and was about to open the lantern when my thumb slipped upon the tin fastening. The old man sprang up in the bed, crying out,
"Who's there?"
And said nothing.
For a whole hour I did not move muscle, and in the meantime I did not hear him lie down. He was still sitting up in his bed, listening, just as I had done night after night, hearkening to death watches in the wall. Presently I heard a slight groan, and I knew it was the groan of mortal terror. It was not a groan of pain or grief. Oh no. It was the low, stifled sound that arises from the bottom of the soul of the charged ball. I knew the sound well, many a night, just as I know. When all the world was left, it has welled up to my own bosom, deep in me. With its dreadful echo, the terrors that distracted me.
I say I knew it well. I knew what the old man felt and pitied him, although I chuckled at heart. I knew he'd been lying awake ever since the first slight noise when he had turned in the bed. His fears have been ever since growing upon him. He has been trying to fancy them causeless, but could not. He has been saying to himself,
"It is nothing but wind in the chimney. It's only a mouse crossing the floor. It's merely a cricket that has made a single chirp."
yes, he's been trying to comfort himself with these suppositions, but has found them all in vain.
All in vain. All in vain.
Because death, in approaching him, had stalked with its black shadow and enveloped the victim. And it was the mournful influence of the unperceived shadow that caused him to not feel, although he neither heard nor saw, to feel the presence of my head in the room. When I had waited a long time, very patiently, without hearing him lie down, I resolved to open a little, very little crevice within the lantern. So I opened it. You cannot imagine how stealthily, until, at length, a single dim ray, like the thread of a spider, shot from out of the crevice and full upon the vulture eye. It was open, and I grew furious as I gazed upon it. I saw it with perfect distinctness, all a dull blue with a hideous veil over it that chilled the very marrow of my bones. But I could see nothing else of the old man's face or person, for I had directed the ray, as if by instinct, precisely upon the damned spot. And now will you mistake for madness is but over-acuteness of the senses? Now, I say, there came to my ears a low, dull, quick sound, such as a watch makes when enveloped in cotton. I knew that sound well, too. It was the beating.
Beating.
Of the old man's heart. It increased my fury as the beating
dreadful silence of that old house, so strange a noise as this exciting and uncontrolled terror. And yet, for some minutes, longer, I refrained.
It stood still.
But the beating grew louder.
Louder, louder.
I felt the heart was burst, and now a new anxiety seized me. This sound be heard by a neighbor. The old man's hour had come. With a loud yell, I threw open the lantern and leaped into the room. He shrieked once, only once. In an instant, I dragged him to the floor and pulled the heavy bed over him. I then smiled to find the deed so far done. But for many minutes, the heart beat on with an awful sound. This, however, did not vex me. It would not be heard through the wall. At length, it ceased.
The old man was dead.
I removed the bed and examined the corpse. Yes, he was stoned. He was stoned, dead. I placed my hand upon the heart and held it there for many minutes. There was no pulsation. He was stoned, dead. His eye would trouble me no more. If you still think me mad, you will think so no longer when I describe the wise precautions I took for the concealment of the body. The night waned, and I worked hastily, but in silence. First of all, I dismembered the corpse. I cut off the head, and the arms, and the legs. I then took 3 planks from the flooring of the chamber and deposited it all between the scantings. I then replaced the boards so clever, so cunning, that no human eye,
Not even his.
could have detected anything wrong. There was nothing to wash out, no stain of any kind, no blood spot whatsoever. I had been too wary for that. The tub had caught it all.
When I had made an end of these labors, it was 4 o'clock, still dark as midnight, and as the bell sounded the hour, there came a knocking at the street door. I went down to open it with a light heart. For what had I out of here? There entered 2 men who introduced themselves with perfect suavity as officers of the police. A shriek had been heard by a neighbor during the night. Suspicion of foul play had been aroused. Information had been lodged with the police office, and they, the officers, had been deputed to search the premises. I smiled. For what had I out of here? I bade the gentleman welcome. This shriek, I said, was my own, in a dream. The old man I mentioned was absent in the country. I led my visitors all over the house. I bade them search. Search well. I led them at length to his chamber. I showed them his treasures, secure and undisturbed. And in the enthusiasm of my confidence, I brought chairs into the room, desired the hearer rest in their fatigues, while I, myself, in the wild audacity of
My perfect triumph.
placed my own seat upon the very spot beneath which reposed the corpse of the victim. The officers were satisfied. My manner had convinced them. I was singularly at ease. They sat, and I answered cheerfully as they chatted familiar things.
But ere long,
I felt myself getting pale.
I wish the dawn. My head ached, and I fancied a ringing in my ears. Still they sat, and still chatted. The reading became more distinct. It continued and became more distinct. I talked more freely